I believed this trip would strengthen our bond. Instead, it marked the turning point of our marriage. My spouse and I have shared a decade of marriage. Life was fulfilling in numerous aspects. We were blessed with 2 wonderful children who brought us immense joy. Yet, as time passed, an unspoken change began to unfold between us. Like many parents, we found ourselves ensnared in the relentless whirlwind of duties: school drop-offs, work obligations, medical visits, and all the myriad tasks that accompany family life. When we finally collapsed into bed at night, fatigue enveloped us, leaving no room for conversation, much less any deeper connection. Our days seemed to repeat endlessly. I would rise early to assist in preparing the children for school, allowing my wife to take care of breakfast. After work, we would collaborate on dinner, tackle homework, and navigate bedtime routines, only to find ourselves sitting quietly in front of the TV before ending the day. Weekends offered little respite, filled with chores and children's engagements. Amidst the turmoil, we found ourselves adrift, having lost our connection. Things were different once. In the early days of our relationship, my wife and I would lose ourselves in conversations, laughter, and the simple pleasure of being together. Yet, in those moments of leisure, it seemed we were at a loss for how to spend our time. Conversations evolved into debates over finances or arrangements for taking the kids to soccer practice. That was the moment I proposed the getaway. A pause from the usual rhythm felt like just what we were craving. Just the 2 of us, free from distractions, rediscovering the bond we once had. I envisioned leisurely strolls along the shore, intimate dinners by candlelight, and relaxed mornings where we could engage in uninterrupted conversation. I hoped this journey would remind us of the reasons we initially fell for each other. She consented immediately. Perhaps she sensed the gap as well, or perhaps she simply craved a shift in her surroundings. No matter the motivation behind our tropical escape, it offered us an opportunity to rejuvenate our bond. I felt a sense of anticipation, even enthusiasm, that this journey might deepen our connection. We reached the resort at the break of dawn. The gentle sun bathed the scene, while the rhythmic waves met the shore, accompanied by the joyful laughter of untroubled visitors echoing around. The beach was stunning, with miles of white sand and crystal-clear water sparkling in the sunlight. For a fleeting instant, it seemed like the ultimate getaway. The initial day was brimming with little delights. As we strolled side by side along the sandy beach, the gentle waves lapped at our feet, creating a soothing rhythm around us. She let out a soft giggle as a tiny crab hurried by her toes, and I found myself smiling in response. After weeks of silence, her laughter rang out for the first time, a sound I had almost forgotten. During dinner, we gathered around a candlelit Afro-Caribbean music echoing from speakers, the waves crashing against the shore, and the joyful laughter of the crowd that had come together for the evening's celebrations. Vendors wove through the bustling crowd, calling out enticing offers for refreshing drinks and tasty snacks, their vibrant carts enhancing the dynamic atmosphere. A large, makeshift stage took center stage near the water, encircled by tiki torches that danced in the gentle warmth of the evening breeze. An enthusiastic host, microphone at the ready, energized the audience, inviting contenders to take part in the eagerly awaited dance competition. A semicircle of spectators erupted in cheers, applause, and whistles as volunteers took center stage, each one eager to showcase their skills. In the midst of the throng, my wife stood out, her expression glowing with the same thrill that initially captivated me all those years ago. She had always cherished the art of dance, and this evening was no exception. She leaned toward me, her eyes glimmering with excitement. "I want to do it," she said, her voice carrying a hint of innocence, reminiscent of a child seeking approval. Before I had the chance to respond, she was already removing her sandals and moving closer to the stage. Initially, I didn't give it much thought. She cherished these moments, basking in the spotlight and soaking up the crowd's energy. It was simply her manner. I lingered, sinking into my seat with a drink in hand, observing her weave through the crowd, her smile bright and inviting. The announcer welcomed her with palpable excitement, presenting her with a numbered sash to fasten around her waist. The audience erupted in applause as she ascended the stage. A gentle laugh escaped me. This was just like her, always on the move when there was an opportunity for enjoyment. A part of me found her confidence admirable, the way she could immerse herself in the moment without hesitation. One aspect of my nature, the more reserved side, favored observing from afar. I was indifferent. I was pleased to allow her to revel in her happiness while I remained in the shadows. My wife's face radiated joy when the announcer invited participants for a local dance competition. Initially, I didn't give it much thought. I thought it was merely another enjoyable endeavor, a component of the getaway we had organized to rekindle our bond and break free from the pressures of daily life. Then he emerged, her partner in the dance. He was a vibrant young man, exuding charisma with every confident step he took, his effortless smile capable of winning over anyone. His complexion and toned physique hinted at countless hours spent in the water or engaging in athletic pursuits. His movements flowed effortlessly, exuding confidence as if he had claimed the dance floor long before the first note played. He presented himself with a bow that elicited a soft laugh from my wife. She extended her hand to him, and in that instant, it felt as though I had vanished from reality. They began to dance, and I observed him spinning her with such grace, eliciting laughter and a rosy glow on her cheeks. She appeared utterly unburdened, brimming with vitality. For a brief instant, I considered that perhaps this could be beneficial for her. She is worthy of enjoyment. Yet, as the dance unfolded, an unsettling knot started to twist in my stomach. The way he embraced her waist, the way she nestled against of a sudden blow. I didn't mean to impose on her. I simply wanted her to understand the depth of my pain. In that instant, it became clear to me that she was indifferent to my feelings. This was more than just the dance. It reflected the growing distance between us and the diminishing importance she placed on our connection. I set aside my ego and offered her a final caution. If you step out there and dance with him once more, don't expect to find me here upon your return. She chuckled as though I had just told a funny story. Silently, she pivoted and made her way back to him. The music resumed, and I lingered for a moment, observing her smile as she carried on, entirely unaware of the tempest brewing within me. As I lingered at the shoreline, observing her twirl and giggle with a stranger, a truth I had long resisted began to surface within me. Our union had been fractured for years. As she twirled gracefully, I remained motionless, coming to terms with the countless moments I had overlooked, the warnings, the hushed evenings when our words were few, the evenings dedicated to mindlessly scrolling through our devices rather than engaging in conversation, the moments when she appeared lost in thought, and I told myself it was merely the weight of stress or fatigue. The dance served as a poignant reminder, a culmination of the distance that had grown between us over time. I pivoted and made my way back to the hotel. I didn't leave in a huff. I refrained from calling out to her. What was the purpose? She was completely unaware of my absence. Upon entering our room, the void enveloped me with an overwhelming intensity. The silence enveloped you, amplifying the sense of isolation like never before. As I began to gather my belongings, my hands instinctively worked without conscious thought. I found myself without a plan, lacking a destination, and completely unsure of my next move. I was certain that my time there had come to an end. I found it unbearable to see her choose a transient encounter with someone unknown over the commitment she made to the man she vowed to love for eternity. I arranged for a taxi to the airport, my hands shaking slightly as I finalized the booking. Sitting on the edge of the bed, I gazed at the suitcase I had just zipped up. It struck me that I was leaving behind more than just this journey. I was letting go of the visions I once held for our future, the life we had created side by side, the lady I once thought would be my eternal companion. In that instant, I realized I was worthy of so much more. Not flawless, not a storybook ending, but a person who chose me, who truly recognized me. As I entered the taxi and instructed the driver to take me to the airport, a profound sense of the burdens I was leaving behind washed over me. For the first time in ages, a feeling of clarity washed over me. At times, Releasing what holds you back is the sole path to rediscovering who you truly are. Upon returning home from the trip, the silence within the house weighed more heavily than it ever had. It wasn't the sort of stillness that follows a tiring day or when the children are away at school. It was the hush of an absence felt deeply. Her presence, her laughter, and even the soft notes of her favorite music drifting in the air, all vanished. As I settled onto the couch, gazing at the vacant space where she would typically nestle with a book or her phone, the memories flooded back. I reflected on our first encounter, how her smile would illuminate every space, and the countless hours we spent sharing our aspirations. In those days, it seemed as if we were unstoppable, as if nothing could ever stand in our way. Yet, at some point, we ceased to be who we once were. Life became a whirlwind of activity. Work, children, expenses, where conversations dwindled to mere snippets about timetables and shopping lists. What we once shared has been lost beneath the weight of time and indifference. The memory of that moment on the beach kept swirling in my mind, her laughter ringing out, her expression brimming with defiance. "You don't possess me," she had declared. It struck me with a force I couldn't ignore. She had been trapped in our marriage for far too long, and I had been oblivious to her struggle. Perhaps I had been grasping too firmly, attempting to dictate the situation when all she desired was the freedom to breathe. Yet it wasn't just her words that caused the pain. She turned and walked away, heading straight back to the dance floor, drawn to a stranger who could evoke laughter in her that I hadn't been able to in years. The memory of that image is etched in my mind. I came to understand that I had been clinging to a vision of our marriage that had faded away. In reality, we had been fractured for some time, putting on a facade of normalcy while both of us were acutely aware that it was anything but. I reminisced about the joyful moments, the trips we took, the celebrations, the late nights spent in conversation about both trivial and profound matters. I yearned to grasp those memories, yet they seemed to drift away like grains of sand escaping my grasp. Their presence couldn't bridge the widening gaps that had formed between us. Affection by itself couldn't mend what had shattered. As I sat in the stillness of our home, a peculiar blend of feelings washed over me. There was a profound sense of loss for the life we had crafted together that was now disintegrating. Yet, there was also a sense of relief, a release from the struggle for something that was beyond our grasp. It wasn't resentment or fury. It was a sense of understanding, a poignant realization that, despite the depth of shared experiences, two individuals can still become so distant that the path to reconnection becomes elusive. I was uncertain about what lay ahead, yet there was one truth I held firmly in my heart. I found it impossible to continue in a union that resembled a conflict rather than a collaboration. Abandoning her on that shore transcended the mere act of dancing. It was a journey of rediscovering my value and embracing my joy. The ache of parting was undeniable, yet so was the glimmer of hope that perhaps this marked the beginning of something greater for us both. Following that vacation, my wife's life changed direction. Initially, she appeared unaware of the gravity of the situation that had unfolded. Upon her return from the trip, the stark emptiness of our house enveloped her, a dwelling we once crafted together as a testament to our union. My belongings had vanished, the spaces felt more frigid, and the stillness resonated more profoundly than any words I might have uttered. She reached out to me several times in the initial week, her tone laced with a blend of perplexity and annoyance. She appeared perplexed by my departure, unable to grasp why I couldn't simply return and carry on as if everything was unchanged. I attempted to clarify, to help her understand that the issue extended beyond the dance or her partner. It was a matter of years spent in the shadows, her quest for approval from all but me, and her unwillingness to acknowledge the fractures in what we had built. As time passed, her calls became increasingly rare. Perhaps she was beginning to come to terms with the reality that our relationship had genuinely concluded. She ceased her pleas for my return and began to concentrate on her own journey instead. At this moment, my focus is solely on the children. The beach dance might have been the tipping point, yet in reality, our marriage had concluded well before she spun into his embrace.